There's a reason people can't stop talking about Jeremiah Fisher, and it's not just because of the golden retriever smile or the shirtless pool scenes. It's because beneath the sunshine exterior is a boy who's been quietly unraveling. Jeremiah is one of the most emotionally complex characters in The Summer I Turned Pretty. And in this video essay, we're going to unpack why. From his fixation on being chosen, to the weight of internalized rejection, to the cracks in his charm, this is a story of codependency, emotional immaturity, and the kind of validation seeking that becomes your whole identity. The tragedy of Jeremiah Fisher. Chapter 1: Codependency Defined. Let's start with what codependency actually means. Codependency is a behavioral condition in a relationship where one person enables another's addiction, poor mental health, immaturity, irresponsibility, or underachievement. It's marked by an excessive reliance on other people for approval and a sense of identity. In other words, in Season 3, Episode 1, after Jeremiah tells Belly that he needs an extra semester to graduate, Belly chooses not to share her good news about getting off the Paris waitlist. She holds back, not because she doesn't want to go, but because she senses Jeremiah's energy is off. He's sulking, clearly down, and to Belly, it doesn't feel appropriate to share her joy when he's in a bad place. That alone already shows her tendency to manage his emotions before prioritizing her own. Later in the same episode, when she finally tells him, he's supportive and says they should celebrate. But when Belly doubts if she should go and suggests staying on campus with him, Jeremiah insists that she should go and that it's her dream. He even promises to visit her. It sounds supportive, but in retrospect, it creates an unspoken pressure. Belly now associates her big life decision with how it might impact Jeremiah. Cut to Season 3, Episode 9. When Belly actually is in Paris and she tells him over the phone. His eyes widen and we see that he is genuinely shocked to hear the news. It's like he never really believed that she'd actually go, and he thought his words were enough to keep her rooted in his orbit. And yet, even while stunned, he tries to pull her back again, saying, "Things got really screwed up at the wedding, but that doesn't mean they have to end. We could just go back to the way things were." Right here, he's practically begging. He's still reaching, still hoping. And that is what codependency looks like. When love isn't about freedom, but instead it becomes about survival. Chapter 2: The Shadow of Conrad. From the moment we meet him, Jeremiah exists in contrast to his older brother. Conrad is brooding, intellectual, and emotionally closed off. Jeremiah, on the other hand, is bright, affectionate, and emotionally available. But what happens when your whole identity is built in contrast to someone else? Especially someone who's always been seen as the golden child. Let's take the fireworks scene in Season 1, Episode 4. Jeremiah is watching Belly and Conrad from a distance on a dock as they're about to kiss. He deliberately lights and launches a firework toward them to stop the moment from happening. And we see similar behavior in Season 3, Episode 5, when Jeremiah places Belly on his lap and shares her food right in front of Conrad. These acts aren't just romantic gestures, they're territorial, a performance of closeness that's meant to assert his position over Conrad. In season 3, episode 9, Belly calls from Paris. Jeremiah makes sure to announce to Conrad, "She called me," and he taunts Conrad with this. And he knows exactly what he's doing because he's enjoying the power shift. But it's fleeting, because when you define your worth by comparison, you're always at war with your own insecurity. And that insecurity has roots. Let's talk about Adam Fisher. In season 3, we see how Adam continually blames Jeremiah for things, often before understanding the full picture. During the engagement dinner, Adam looks at Jeremiah and immediately asks,
"What did you drag her into?"
The implication is clear. Whatever is wrong, Jeremiah must be responsible for it. Then there's the phone conversation in season 3, episode 1, where Jeremiah calls his dad to explain that he's going to need an extra semester to graduate, and Adam is furious. Instead of support, he offers sarcasm and shame.
And now I'm on the hook for another $20K in tuition.
I'll pay you back.
How? You gonna pick up some extra lifeguard shifts at the club?
Dad, that's not fair.
And then comes the gut punch.
Jared, do you think your brother would ever let something like this happen?
That comparison hits hard. Even Belly goes silent, and the mood shifts completely. Jeremiah, who was previously singing in the car with her, is now cold and withdrawn. He tells her that he can't do the dinner with Steven anymore, and he needs time with his thoughts. This is a pattern that we're seeing. When Jeremiah is upset, he doesn't just feel it, he becomes it. His mood shifts the room. They're heavy, consuming, and everyone around him is forced to adjust. Belly feels that firsthand. Because Jeremiah is always second best to his brother, he internalizes rejection until he expects it. We see it happen with Adam, who constantly compares him to Conrad. We even see it in season 2 with Aunt Julia and Sky's characters, who, when are introduced, are a bit closed off and initially kind of turn him away. But still he tries, because he says that it's nice to feel like their family isn't so small, holding on to any version of love, even when it's conditional. He's terrified of losing people, and it's important to note that's why he doesn't react with anger similarly to how Conrad does in those scenes. Instead, he absorbs and even lets it go, and that's why in season 1, when Laurel scolds the kids, Jeremiah's the first to apologize, and he's also the first to hug Laurel when she ultimately is helping save the house. Jeremiah believes he has to earn love and earn peace and earn that right to be seen. And the only things he ever really fights for are Belly and the house, which represents Susanna, because those are the only two things that made him feel understood, the only two that felt like home. He encourages Belly to go to Paris when she tells him she's off the wait list. He tells Conrad to go to Stanford because he's never had that luxury of choosing a dream for himself. He works hard and he shows up, but he doesn't allow himself to explore what he loves. In the earlier seasons, he's always just been the helper, but never the one who has been helped. And that's why he clings. That's why he needs to win. Because when your self-worth is shaped by rejection, even being chosen never feels enough. Chapter 3, Belly as the prize. Belly has always been the girl in the middle, but for Jeremiah, she becomes something more than a crush. She becomes the symbol of his self-worth. After their breakup, Jeremiah is talking to Redbird in season 3, episode 2, in the fraternity house, and he says something along the lines to him
Belly's been the center of my world since I lost my mom.
He doesn't say it romantically. He says it like a lifeline. Like without her, he wouldn't know who he is, and he wouldn't know how to properly grieve his mother. And this shows that Belly isn't just someone he loves. She's someone he uses to hold himself together. We even see this further in the wedding arc. Jeremiah is so committed to the idea of being chosen that he pushes through even when it's clear that something is off.
I don't want part of you, Belly. I want all of you.
The heartbreaking part is he knows he doesn't have all of her. He knows she's still in love with Conrad, but he thinks if he just holds on harder, he'll win. Even in Paris, after she's left, he clings to the last thread. In season 3, episode 9, during a phone conversation with Belly, he tells her that he can't sleep without her. And that isn't just a confession, it's bait and it's guilt, because he's hoping that maybe she'll say it back and maybe that she'll admit that she's struggling too. But she doesn't. On the other hand, when he confesses all of this to her, we don't see a smile on her face. We don't see any form of her face lighting up. Instead, it's shown that she looks kind of sad. She's not smiling. And you can kind of determine here she's at a crossroads where she's realizing that they can't be friends anymore. No matter what, they can't go back to how things ever were, and that he won't stop trying, even though part of him knows that it is truly done between them. Chapter 4. Did Jeremiah cheat? Let's talk about the spring break situation, because there's been a lot of debate. Belly claims it was a dumb fight. Jeremiah says it was a breakup. But here's what matters. Belly never told him she spent Christmas with Conrad alone. He finds out, he feels betrayed, and instead of talking about it, he picks a fight. He creates distance, then uses that distance as justification to hook up with someone else. And yes, technically what Belly did falls under something called emotional cheating. Emotional cheating is when you develop an intimate connection with someone outside your relationship, especially when that conversation is kept secret and starts to replace the bond you have with your partner. That's exactly how it felt to Jeremiah. Belly withheld the truth, and Jeremiah retaliated. Their conversation is filled with miscommunication and emotional immaturity. Belly assumed that they were still together, even despite not having spoken for a week, and Jeremiah assumed they were over. And even though he regrets it, he never fully owns it. That's not just cheating, that's avoidance, and that's heartbreak turned into retaliation. Chapter 5. The Backburner Boy. Jeremiah is always second, and he knows it. He expects to be overlooked, so he clings harder to anything that feels secure. And in this case, that security is Belly, because she reminds him of his own mother. This is also where the parallel with Benito comes in. Season 3, episode 9, Benito taunts Conrad at the dinner table. Season 1, Jeremiah is basically taunting Cam at the dinner table in almost a similar manner. It's immature, but it's familiar. It's what insecure boys do when they feel threatened. And when things fall apart, Jeremiah doesn't self-soothe, he collapses. After the wedding is called off, we see moments where he's not eating. Instead, he's drinking and he's spiraling, because if Belly doesn't choose him, who will? Chapter 6. The Need to Be Seen. Jeremiah is the fisher boy everyone calls the golden boy, but it's all performance. He smiles, he flirts, he plays the part, but inside, he feels invisible. We see it in the conversation with Steven at the country club from season 1. He says,
Okay, I just like to kiss, then be cozy with people. Oh, yeah?
"It's not about sex, it's about affection, attention, being seen." And when he's rejected, even subtly, it cuts deep. He still tries with Adam despite constant criticism. And we see in season 2 how he still tries with Aunt Julia and Sky, even despite Aunt Julia trying to take the cousin's house. He says, "It's nice to feel like our family isn't so small." And that line says everything, because he clings to connection, any connection, because rejection feels like confirmation that he's unlovable. Chapter 7, When Love Becomes Survival. Jeremiah doesn't know who he is without someone to fight for. He's always supporting other people's dreams, Paris, Stanford, but he has none of his own. He's hardworking, he shows up, but he doesn't explore what he wants. Even his job at Adam's firm, let's be honest, Jeremiah is a Nepo baby, a person who's achieved success largely because of a well-connected parent. It's not a compliment, it's a critique, and Adam uses it against him. He says things like,
Easy there, intern.
Jeremiah isn't respected, not even by his own father, but he keeps showing up, he keeps trying. Because when you're raised on emotional scraps, you learn to overperform for approval. That's why the wedding meant so much to him. It wasn't just about Belly. It was about finally being picked, publicly, even if it wasn't fully real. Final chapter. Why we still feel for him. Jeremiah isn't evil. He's not manipulative. He's emotionally immature. Let's take the scene with Laurel after the wedding is called off. He opens the door and immediately says,
I know how you're doing. Happy.
That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm heartbroken for both of you.
It's bullshit. You never wanted Belly to marry me.
And when she doesn't deny it, he tells her to leave. You're not my mom. You can stop pretending you give a shit about me. Go celebrate that I didn't marry your precious daughter. Even here, even when he knows the truth, he still pushed through the wedding. Just like he knew Conrad still had feelings for Belly, but went forward anyway. Why? Because it would prove something. That someone finally picked him. That brings me to a comment someone left on my last video. Why was it so important for Jeremiah to have all of Belly's heart, but that doesn't seem to be a deterrent for Conrad? Here's my take. Jeremiah needed to feel like he wasn't second best, like he finally won. He's always envied Conrad, the attention, the praise, the validation. Conrad, on the other hand, doesn't operate from that same insecurity. He doesn't need to own Belly. Look at the cemetery scene in season 3, episode 10. Jeremiah says,
You wanted Belly back, so you found a way to take her.
and Conrad says, you can't take anyone. She's not an object. The only reason there was any wedding to break up was because you were afraid of losing her. Then he adds, as if a ring could make someone yours. This is the key difference. For Jeremiah, a ring equals security, whereas for Conrad, love equals freedom. If you find this video essay meaningful, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of Jeremiah's arc across all 3 seasons? Do you see him differently now? Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my full playlist of the Summer I Turned Pretty character deep dives, including The Weight of the Oldest Son on Conrad Fisher and The Daughter Who Became the Mother on Taylor. Until next time, thanks for watching.